that is like every
Love it.
question, like every question, every need is like
Yeah.
valid. And I feel like very fortunate in that,
Yeah.
I can ask for things that might be scary.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things, and I feel like you guys, maybe you guys should connect sometime. One of the things that he says exactly what you say, which is like, yeah, all of that stuff is sometimes like you can't get rid of the jealousy or all that other stuff. The one thing that we can focus on is re-engaging and reconnecting. And like
Yeah.
that is where we put like our attention and our strength.
Keeping all of that in, also while I
Mhm.
was listening to you, it seems to be important for my practice of humility.
Yeah.
Because
Say more. What do you mean?
because if I let if I'm not thinking of those things, if I think that, obviously I'm never going to be perfect, but this idea that I got it, I got it, I got it, I may come in and not be concerned about the other person. I mean,
Oh,
because
Yeah.
yes.
because of some of my feelings of inadequacy or whatever, I may overcompensate or try to add or change or whatever, and it
Yeah.
adds too. And
Yeah.
I also think that this is a part of our process of growth. And
Mm.
the more that I experience this and the more that I realize, it's okay. Also, when you find out that the person that you're with, like last night I was with this guy and we were able to have amazing conversations. Like for me, it's like I always share, I'm somewhere in between mm, uh, a relationship and, well, I don't even think I'm there, but I'm somewhere in between, like out behind a tree out back, and a person that I see regularly, and we had such an amazing time
Mm.
because I didn't let go of any of that. I just kind of showed up, flaws and all, and to have another person kind of connect with you and you believe what's there on the surface. Do you know what I'm getting at?
I do. I
Yeah.
I do know what you're saying. David, were you going to say something?
I was just listening. I was
Oh,
enjoying the one thing I really love about this particular podcast is it is so evolved, and it is, I just come from a different place where there's a lot of like opinions that are rigid and narrow-minded sometimes, and I just am so relieved that this is not one of those spaces. I need to get out more.
yeah, well, what's interesting is that for the longest time, and I feel like through my conversations with Lewis and maybe living in San Francisco, like, I come from Pennsylvania, which is and Brian and I talked about this during the last episode, is that like I come from a place that's like super rigid, right? Where like anything outside of like vanilla sex, even within a gay relationship, is like kind of like frowned upon, or people have like really intense opinions about it. So it wasn't until like I moved here and I saw things like modeled, you know what I mean? Like it was out here that I like was the first time I met people that were like, yeah, bitch, I slept with 15 people yesterday, and like who gives a fuck? Like it was the first time I came across people who were like really
Yeah.
owning their sexuality. And it was also the first time that I came across people who were like, you know what, that's not my thing, but I'm not going to judge you because you're doing that thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
Hmm.
those two things coexisting.
Yeah.
As people in recovery, and I've shared about this before, is like I'm in SLA, so Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. So I
Mm.
wonder how you like, just given like your experiences, like how do you like conceptualize, or do you think about like sexual addiction when it comes to like sexual freedom and sex positivity?
Yeah. Because I'm not a sex addict, I don't want to speak to it in the frame that I think I know what I'm talking about, because I don't. And so my opinion doesn't have the value that somebody who has experience. I've done Sex Compulsive Anonymous before.